If you're listening to this, it probably means you needed to hear it. Hello, everyone. I just went for a little jog up a mountain and back. Little jog. And I had a lot of thoughts on my little jog that I want to share with you right now. And it's about how long distance running is a metaphor for life. As I was running, I was taking down ideas, and I've just been thinking about this a lot, you know? Life is full of ups and downs. And man, some days you feel good. And sometimes your runs, you just get out. Excuse me. I also made a video about my little jog. If you want to check that out, it's probably the video right before this podcast comes out or right after. So yeah, I'm literally filming this podcast episode the second I got done filming that very last clip. So you're getting my raw thoughts, my raw post long run thoughts. And you know, what initiated this thought was some days you go out for a run, you go out for 3 miles and it's just feeling bad. Like straight up, it's just not feeling good. Other times you could run 15 miles and it flies by and you feel great for no apparent reason. I mean, there's a lot of reasons that happen beyond our consciousness, and it depends on how you slept and what you ate, probably the mood state you're in. But like sometimes just you don't even know why it feels good some days and then not good others. At least I don't. When I go out and run, you know, the first couple miles are just, okay, how's my body feeling? I go through a system check, like I'm a spacecraft, and I'm like, okay, how's my head? How are my hips? How are my knees? How's my energy? Just how am I feeling? Is it cold? Is it hot? Am I sweating right away? I just kind of do a bodily check. How am I doing? How am I mentally doing? Do I want to be here? Do I not want to be here? It's very rarely that I don't want to be out for a run, because it's so part of my routine now that, you know, every other day I go for at least 30 minutes before work. And then up to this, I've been doing a long run over the weekend. So it's so ingrained in me that, and like I make things for myself to look forward to after. Well, I mostly do that for lifting, I guess. I always eat a David protein bar after I lift. And I always look forward to that David protein bar and coffee. Like, oh my gosh. Running, I usually do it in the morning when I'm fasted. So I'm really looking forward to breakfast afterwards. I did that for training for this, because I wanted race day to be a little bit easier, which I would highly recommend. I hope you're listening to this on a run. That would be cool. For my long distance runner friends, it's been fun to make friends that run, and we follow each other on Strava. I got into running in 2023. I hope you hear the laughter and the joy behind me. I'm sitting in my car with the window open, and I could close it, but I feel the laughter is so nice and good for the vibes. So I'm just going to keep the window open for you guys so you can hear them and get some more joy. But yeah, I got into running in late 2023, and it's so fun because when this episode comes out, I'm actually celebrating 100 weeks of running. Can you believe it, you guys? 100 weeks straight of an activity on Strava. So that's very exciting for me personally. I mean, I honestly wasn't even going for 100. Around 97, I looked at my Strava and I saw that I was at 97 weeks streak, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, that is so cool. I can't wait till it's 100. And when this episode comes out, it's going to be 100 weeks of running at least once per week. And I mean, lately I've been running I run every other day at least. So that ends up shaking out to 3 or 4 times a week. I'm thinking on the fly here. And that's what got me thinking about this first, was some runs feel good, some runs feel bad for no apparent reason, and you just keep doing them, like no matter how it feels, like you just keep going, you just go out for another one. And so yeah, I hope that my runner friends are listening to this on one of their own runs, and I can be in your little ears telling you what I've learned about running, and maybe you can relate to some of these, my long distance runner friends. I would love to hear your thoughts, as always. I mean, if you're my friend or whoever you are, I always want to hear all of your thoughts. And it'd be fun to hear your thoughts about this and see if you agree with me and what your parallels to life are. So, yeah, that's the first one, is some days can feel good for no reason. So that relates to life, because some days you just wake up feeling really good, and some days you wake up feeling really bad for no apparent reason. I mean, sometimes it's a lot of little things that add up and they make you feel a type of way. But then sometimes, you know, it seems like things should be good, but you're just not feeling it. And sometimes you wake up and you're having a fantastic day also for no apparent reason, or no reason that's to the level of your consciousness. And I think what I like to relate it to running is you just keep putting one foot in front of the other and you just keep living the day. And a big thing is, in running, I go through waves. Of joy, and then, oh my gosh, this is so hard, and I just have to, you know, take the tiniest little steps to just get through it. But the thing is, I keep jogging. I really don't walk on these. I was surprised on my small short jog here up the mountain in Colorado Springs that people would walk, and it works for them. For me, it works to just keep, even if it's slower than a walk, I just keep jogging, because to me, I always say to myself, it doesn't matter how slow you go so long as you do not stop. And walking isn't stopping, However, for me, it's just important to keep that actual jogging momentum going. And, you know, I've experienced this so many times on a run. I mean, watch my video and you'll see at 3 miles, I was not feeling it. Then I was feeling better. Then at 12 miles, I was again not feeling it. And then pretty much 16 on to the rest, I was feeling good. That happens to me on almost every single long run I do. I will go through periods where it feels good. And, you know, I got my music blasting in my ears and I'm literally singing out loud, singing along. I feel on top of the world. The weather's great. And then there's some runs where I'm, you know, so cold and my fingers are moving so slowly. And I'm just thinking, I just have to get through this. And this is a test. This is a practice in resilience. And the grind, and, you know, my head is really hurting, or I'm out of energy, or, you know, and I just get those waves, of it feeling really good and then not feeling really good. And that's such a metaphor for life, because we have, and not even just days, but we can have periods that are really good, you know, and then we can have periods that just don't feel good. And what I've learned now more than ever is just, I appreciate the times when it's up, because I know it's going to come back down. And when it's down, I know it's going to come back up again. And if there's just one thing I can tell people who are in a down spot, is that life is a sine wave. Life is a sine wave. When you're down, it's going to come back up again. And then when it's up, just really appreciate that moment. There's moments in life, you know, when you're with somebody, when you're with a best friend, and it's 70 and sunny outside and it's a weekend and you're just enjoying each other's company. Those are the moments where you're thinking, this is what I do everything for. This is why I work, so that I have the resources to take the time off to spend time with them. Or when you're with your family and you're celebrating the holidays, you know, Thanksgiving's coming up and that's my family's favorite holiday. And, you know, just recognizing those moments when you're in them. I think we recognize value when things are out of our life. And the practice that I've been really doing is recognizing when something's good in the moment and trying my absolute best to recognize it in that moment that it's good, and not waiting until it's gone to truly appreciate it. And I mean, my dad was correct that you can't, I think it's impossible to fully recognize the value of something until it leaves. What I do think is that we can make an intentional effort to recognize as much as that value as we can when we have it. So that's why I'm so grateful when I'm feeling good running, because of every single time that it's felt not good. When I had a headache, not had energy, just as I was right now at 12 miles, when it's cold, when it's so cold. I still run when it's cold, and that makes me appreciate every single time it's 75 and sunny and I'm getting a tan so much more. So we really need that downside of life and those really hard times in running to make us appreciate when it's all feeling good. And what else do I have in here? You learn something new about yourself every single time you run. Every single time I have run more than 10 miles, I have learned something about what I need to do better, or what I need to change for the next run to make me feel more comfortable. Oh my gosh, I have a list here of things I've learned. Where are we? It's called Run, Learn. Run things I've learned. I learned that I like to carry gum on me, and I like to chew gum when I run. It's instead of always eating, I like to have the gum on me, to download things before I go, because when I'm up in the mountains I lose service, and it's nice to have things to listen to have tissues, to go to the bathroom early and often, to carry a portable charger, and to record Strava on my phone and not my watch, because the first time I ran 19 miles my watch died and it didn't record that I actually went longer than that. And I know personally I did, but you know, especially when you want to track your even longer runs, I learned to do it on my phone. So, and I've learned how I need to dress, and I've learned to wear leggings with pockets. So it's just like every single time that I run, I learn something more. And so if you're going to be going out and doing something, you know, strenuous like that, the best advice I have is to put yourself in the situation as many times as you can before game day, essentially, so that you figure out all those things that you can control, because inevitably something's going to happen on race day that you weren't expecting. So for example, I also got my nutrition down. You know, I eat an apple every 10 miles and I have my energy drinks. And this time on this run, I had some David protein bars too, because it was going to be longer than usual. But for example, I wasn't even 3 minutes into the run and I dropped one of my energy drinks and it exploded all over the ground and got on everybody, and that was really nice. That was a really nice start to the race. So I was down an energy drink. Also, my leggings were sliding down on me because these are a different brand than I usually wear, and so I was pulling up my leggings the whole time. And then number 3 is that I should have brought a visor to keep out the sun. I was wearing a headband to keep my ears warm, and then it got warmer, and then I really could have used a hat at some point. So, but honestly, like, all things considered, everything that I've learned, like, all things considered, that's actually not that many things for a 31-mile run that I would have done differently. I mean, honestly, I feel fine right now. Like, I know I'm gonna be sore, but I can still walk around and stuff. Like, I'm physically unprepared. I mean, I lift and physically I prepare by lifting every other day and then running on the days that I don't lift. I feel like I had my nutrition actually, and you'll see this in the video, I was out of energy. I think that's why I wasn't feeling it mile 0 through 16, because I think I wasn't fueled right or fueled enough. I felt fueled enough starting, but really by 12, I was kind of feeling shaky and felt like I could use some more food. So I think maybe nutrition is something I need to work on. However, that was an anomaly because this is the routine that I've usually been doing with my apples every 10 and my energy drink around that. And I kind of do my apple at 10 and then my energy drink at 15 because it's funny on these long runs, even something as novel, even something as simple as drinking something or eating something is novel and is entertaining in its own way when you are just doing something straight for 5+ hours. So I like to spread it out because I honestly turn off my music and I really just focus on drinking my drink or eating my apple, because it's oddly entertaining. So yeah, like, and then that relates to life because the longer we live, I think aging is such a beautiful thing and I'm not afraid of it. I feel as though I only get better the longer I live because I learn more about myself through every single situation I have, through every hard time at work, every relationship that I have, both the good times, the hard times. I learn things. I just spend a lot of time with myself and I think a lot and I feel as though I just get better and better and I just keep learning about myself and I journal so much, so I record these things. And so it's very analogous to running because every time we do something, we do it a little bit better. You have to, sometimes in life, you have to do things several times to understand if there's a pattern and maybe that's like mistakes come out sometimes only when there's a pattern, when you see it multiple times. Sometimes you do something one time and it could be a fluke, but if you're doing the same thing that's not serving you unconsciously 2-3 times, only then can you start to understand, oh, I actually need to make a change here. And that's very similar with running. I learned to, well, I won't get into that because it has to do with bodily functions, but I learned to do that early and often because I was in situations where I wish I would have done it earlier and often. So it's just only several times does it get into your head, like, okay, I actually need to make a change here. And yeah, you're just like, how am I going to prepare better for the next time? What am I going to do differently? And I feel now, that's why I feel I went into this race prepared. And even still on race day, I knew I was, on the drive over here, I was thinking, I was excited, like, what am I going to learn in this race? What am I going to learn about myself, about conditions? Weather gradients is another one, especially when you're going up in elevation. It can go from hot to cold just by the sun being out. And my thought process in my head was, I want to stay warm. I don't want to have to get warm. So I think I did a good job with that because I kept my gloves on even when it was a little bit warmer because I just wanted to retain that warmth. And so, yeah, okay. I already talked about that. Okay. This one is, if you've got something uncomfortable going on, it's just going to keep bothering you until you address it. And this was because I had a little rock in my shoe and it made me think of in life, if there's something that we're ignoring, an issue that we're ignoring, a relationship that we know that needs to end, something we're doing to ourselves, like if there's something that's going on in our life that's kind of like a pinch point, it's like a rock that you're stepping on every single time, it's just gonna keep being uncomfortable and keep getting worse until you pull over, address it. You gotta take the time to fix it or else it's just gonna get worse. And so same thing, I was like, I don't want to have to recover from a blister. I would rather just prevent the blister in the first place. So pulled over, adjusted myself, and kept going. And I was thinking, that's really true in life because a lot of painful things we can just ignore, even though it's hurting us, but it's not that bad. So we just keep going, but then that could actually turn into something a lot worse. Another thing is sometimes you're running alongside people and sometimes you're alone. So long distance running. So you start out in this big group and then everybody spreads out during it. And there's periods of the race where I was running alongside some people. Oh, the people here were great. It's so encouraging. I was running next to some people. I was chatting with them and they made the first hill go by. I was so thankful for them. And then there's other times when you're just alone for stretches and stretches of time. And that's been so true in my life. When I'm home, I'm constantly around people. When I live in Houston, I'm around my friends more. Colorado has been a really long stretch of alone time for me. And there's beautiful sides to both of it. Being alone teaches you so much about yourself and not having the distraction of other people. And then on the flip side, being with other people is so beautiful. And I think all life experiences are amplified when you share it with somebody. It's so beautiful. And we need both in our lives. It's just like a long distance run. Sometimes you're shoulder to shoulder with somebody and then you're just alone for miles and miles. And at the end of the day, it's a lonely sport. It's not a team that is working together. It's you, your legs, and the trail. And you just have to do it. And I see that very similar to life. And people are so encouraging along the way. And those are the beautiful friendships that we have in our life. That's our family who encourage us along the way. And when I was feeling it, every time somebody passed me coming on the way down and they would encourage me, that would make me feel 1% better. And when there was, 10, 15 people coming down past me, just giving me that little bit of encouragement by saying, good job, you got it, girl. It helped me. And so I think that's really beautiful and really similar to life, because at the end of the day, you're depending on yourself to get through everything. And when we can take those little that help from other people to just keep motivating us, keep going, it's really nice. And another thing is, there's always people in front of you and always people behind you in a race. And sometimes I like to look back just to see how far I've gone. If I'm going up a hill, and this was a long uphill, it was pretty much uphill for the first entire half. And I just look back and just to appreciate it. And and there's people behind you, and then I look in front of me and there's people in front of me, and there's people that are a lot faster than me, and I see the hill that I have in front of me, and it's this interesting feeling of being in the middle of those two spots, where looking back is the past and looking in front of you is the future, and the present is that moment where it switches from past to future constantly. Every single millisecond is that switch from past to future, and you're living it, and that's the present. And I think about that a lot when I'm running with other people. And all my runs that I do for practice are alone. I'm not in a run club yet. I think that would be really good for me and pretty fun. But I've just been, running by myself. And so, and that's similar to life. I do a lot of life by myself. And I love it for its own reasons, and I love running alone for its own reasons. I just can zone out into my own world, and sometimes I just think. Sometimes I just think for hours. Sometimes I listen to my favorite podcasts, my music. I just go into my own little world. And then on race days, when I'm with other people, I get that boost from those other people. I get that energy, and it's so nice. And it's just so analogous to life, because sometimes we are around people all the time, and then sometimes we're alone. And just like the ups and downs, we're gonna have those times when we're together and times when we're alone. So next is, you can be so in the zone, and don't forget to look up and enjoy the view every once in a while. So especially on these such beautiful runs, I mean, my runner friends, I want you to tell me where you look when you run. Are you looking right down at your feet, or are you looking up at the nature around you? Or if you're in a city, just the buildings and everything around you? Because I can get locked into just looking a few steps in front of me. And especially when I'm running in places as beautiful as Colorado, I just have to look up and think, wow, this view is so beautiful, and just really take it in and stop and appreciate it. Well, not stop because I'm running, but mentally just look up and enjoy it. And that's the same thing with life. We can just look at things that are right in front of us, the stressors that are right in front of us, or just anything that's right in front of our faces. And then sometimes it's really good to stop and appreciate life and think how beautiful it is. And that's why I feel the universe blessed me with watching Ferris Bueller's Day Off on repeat my entire childhood. I used to have a PSP, and I had exactly one movie on there, and it was Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And the message of that movie is, life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you can miss it. And as a kid, that was just ingrained in my head. I've seen that movie so many times, I could watch it in my head. That's why I know if I'm ever stranded anywhere without any access to entertainment, I'll literally just watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off in my head, because it was such an integral part of my childhood, given that it was the one movie on my PSP. And I think that the universe put that into my head, to that message in my head, to really just make me appreciate life. And that's why I romanticize everything in my life. I mean, if you know me, if you know my Instagrams, I have a study Instagram, a fitness one, and then just my life one. And I just love to capture beautiful moments. I love to stop and capture it through photos and through videos and through journaling. And I like to live with intention as much as I can, and just think, what kind of life am I cultivating, and stop and look around and enjoy it. Beyond the stressors, like, I get stressed with work. I get stressed almost every single day with just school and things. But I also feel I have this ability to stop and enjoy things. And I really think it's because I watched that movie from a young age. And even when I didn't understand the message of that movie, it was just always seated in my head. And then now, the older I get, the more it really, what's the term, strikes a chord with me, to think, yeah, like, life moves so fast. I mean, I'm 25, and this year has almost gone by of me living in Colorado, and we really have to stop and appreciate things. And I also think having things to look forward to, something similar to this race, it really is a marker in time, or else every day can kind of feel the same. It doesn't matter if you live in the most beautiful place on earth, like Boulder, Colorado. Sometimes you can get in a habit just living your life. And so that's why doing things outside of the ordinary is so beautiful and so necessary. And it helps you live more intentionally each day, because when that day that you've been looking forward to comes, it gives you this time perception, it helps you perceive the time passing in a more intentional way. And so, yeah, when you're running, to not just look at what's in front of you, but to stop and just look up and see the nature around you. Next is you bring the magic to life. Like you bring your, next is you bring the magic to life. Oh my goodness. You bring the magic to life like okay, let's try this one more time. You bring the magic to life like running with a matching set on and having matching nails. Okay, and people comment on it. Okay, so I really enjoyed just for myself to plan out my race day outfits. For, what was it? The Boulder, which is a 10K, I did all red nails. For Boulderthon, I did all pink. And then for this ultra, I did all blue. And I was inspired by Evie Pumpuris because her like color on her website and everything is blue. And I just really wanted to channel her. She's one of my biggest inspirations. And so I have so much fun planning my outfit. I get all new things. I get new tennis shoes. I get new leggings, new top, everything. And it's extra. Yeah, it's extra. You could literally just run. You could run in anything. And I have run in everything. When I was home, I was running in my sister's basketball shoes because I didn't bring my tennis shoes home. So it's just about the fun of bringing magic to it for yourself. So it's not about having the fanciest gear or anything. It's just about the magic, it's about the fun. And what's so fun is a bonus. I wasn't expecting this at all, but people comment on your fun outfit and it's a little boost. So when I was running Boulderthon in my all pink outfit, like guys, I bought pink shoes, like pink set, everything. I had my hat matching pink. I was all pinked out. I loved my outfit so much. I had my nails bright pink too. And people comment on it. They're like, go pink. And there was another girl wearing all pink. And so we're like, oh my gosh. And when I was wearing, all blue for this, people were also commenting on it because I was very easy to spot wearing bright blue. And a girl commented that my nails were matching my outfit too, wearing all blue. And it's just fun. And it just feels like I bring the magic to the race for me. And I make it very intentional. I'm thinking, what am I channeling? Who am I channeling? With my red and my pink, I was channeling my divine feminine energy. And with my blue, I was channeling Evie, and I just love it for myself. It's so fun for me. And then the fact that other people comment on it in a really positive way and just encourage me for it. It feels really nice. We got another person finishing here. And so that's so similar to life too, because we bring the magic to our lives. That's why I'm so excited when I have kids to bring the magic to the holidays. And we just bring the magic to life, whether that's through what we wear, or just the way that we capture moments. He just picked up his little baby daughter and he's finishing out the race. My heart, that's gonna be me. Watch me running like 100 miles with a little baby on my back. I'm gonna do that. Okay, next. Sometimes you're full of distractions, and sometimes you just listen to the sound of your own footsteps. So sometimes when I run, I listen, like as I was mentioning, I have my favorite music blasting in my ears. I have my podcast, so I kind of get lost in some content. And then sometimes I just run in complete silence where I'm listening to the sound of my footsteps, to nature, and I'm just thinking. Or sometimes my mind is blank. Honestly, sometimes what's nice about running is your body's so busy that you don't even have the mental bandwidth to be thinking about a lot. I alternate. Sometimes I'll actually allow myself to think about the deep, hard things when I'm on a run, like I did here, especially when I have the time to. And then sometimes I'm full distraction mode and I want to dissociate mentally and just let my body do its thing. And in life, we do that too. Sometimes we're fully distracted by other people or our job or our studies. We're just distracted by external things. And then it's also important to just be by yourself and just spend time alone with your thoughts. And literally what I do is I just think until I have no more thoughts. I think through everything that I can think of until my mind is blank. That's what I do on my runs sometimes. And I think it's really important to do that. I think it's important not to just get so distracted by things. And then on the flip side, I think it is totally fine to distract yourself sometimes. I mean, I'm making this content and I'm saying that I'm hoping you're listening to this on a run. So it's just it's fun to have a balance of both. And yeah. Okay, the last one that I had when I was running was the more you run uphill and work hard, the easier it seems to get down. I was thinking this as I was running down the mountain, and I was thinking, wow, I just spent the first 16-ish miles running uphill, and now running down, it's a lot easier. My pace went from about 16 minutes per mile down to about 12 minutes per mile at my fastest during this. And it's true. I think the harder you work at the beginning of things, beginning of life, in high school and college, you set yourself to be in a good position later, and you can, I don't want to say cruise, like I want to say the word cruise, but I think we always need to be pushing ourselves. But in a way, when you're going downhill, you're kind of cruising, like you kind of just let your legs go and you don't have to fight them. You just let them go. And, it's easier to go downhill than it is uphill. Unless you're going down a really steep downhill and then you're feeling your knees. However, if it's a shallow gradient up and down, if it's a shallow gradient up, you just it's just really long and you feel it for a long time, that resistance. And then when you're going down that same gradient for a long time, you're just cruising. And so I also see that in life, where you can work really, really hard and then you can reap the benefits for a while, and then like terrain, it goes back up again, so you need to work hard again. Yeah, I like that. You have moments where you go up, you're working really hard, and then you cruise down, you enjoy the fruits of your labor. That's important. It's important to have those times where you're just enjoying what you've worked so hard for. And then, yeah, just like running, the hill goes back up again, and then you're running back uphill again. So yeah, those are my thoughts on how long distance running is a metaphor for life. And another thing I was thinking, and I said this in my video, was I had this moment where when I was running uphill and I was hard, I had this thought, I'm only going to be running uphill once. I'm only going to be running up this hill once. I'm only going to be in this very moment one time. So it's okay that it's hard, because I'm only going to be here once. I just have to get through it one time. So similar to life, depending on what you believe, we just do it once. So even if it's hard, you just have to go through the hard thing maybe one time. That's probably not a perfect metaphor, because, some things we do need to do several times in life. However, it's more about recognizing the present moment, and, you're just in this present moment one time, whether it's good or bad, and that helped me during the hard time of going up that hill, because I knew that it was going to be uphill for a long time. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I appreciate you listening to them and hearing me. And as I mentioned in the beginning, any of my runner friends, I would love to know your thoughts and if you've seen any parallels between life and long distance running. And yeah, that's all I got. I'm down in Colorado Springs, so I'm going to make the drive back up to Boulder. It's between an hour and a half to 2 hours depending on traffic. So yeah, that's that, and I'll see you on the next one.